what is the commonality behind all of these men? There is a woman who is pushing them and controlling them to do it. And it just is so disgusting to me to watch Fetterman's wife direct him around and tell the press, oh, we're not answering questions right now. We're not here for an interview. And the same way that Jill Biden, corrects Joe and answers questions for him and all, it is just so disgusting. John Fetterman has checked himself into a hospital for mental health issues. So this is the Walter Reed inpatient psychiatric unit. And the statement read, last night, Senator John Fetterman checked himself into Walter Reed National Military Medical Center to receive treatment for clinical depression. While John has experienced depression off and on throughout his life, it only became severe in recent weeks. He is receiving treatment on a voluntary basis, they said, and that John is getting the care he needs. He will soon be back to himself. Now, this is like right after he was discharged from, George Washington Center, where he had been suffering. They said that he was lightheaded, right? Like he was at an event and he was lightheaded and he needed to go to the hospital. They ran a bunch of tests because obviously as a stroke survivor, you're very careful with, once you have a stroke, reoccurring strokes become, more of an issue. And so they wanted to rule out a stroke. They said that they did. But some of the issues that he was having, reported as having, is that he would hear anyone speaking to him. You would hear like the Charlie Brown's mom in the Peanuts, right? Like he couldn't, it was just indistinguishable. He could not hear. So he had just been discharged from that. Now, all of a sudden, he's checking in for a little luxurious little stay at the loony bin. And I got to tell you, like, I feel like probably we should have seen this coming. I hope he gets the care he needs. You never like to hear that people are suffering with mental health problems, depression. I realize that it's very rampant, but I would just like to point out that the likelihood of having some sort of emotional problem, depression, is significantly higher in stroke victims because of the way that it alters the brain. So not only do we have someone who literally cannot understand people speaking, right? Cannot understand when someone is speaking to him, has to have it on an iPad or whatever because he can't understand you. He also is at risk for more mental health problems. He's checking himself into the loony bin. And I'm just saying, like, he is one of our lawmakers. He is one of our leaders of the United States. Maybe someone should have warned them that this could have potentially been a problem.
We were talking football a little bit, and there's 32.
A little bit. You were talking football for 20 minutes before the show.
Okay, but there's 32 active quarterbacks in any given season. It's an elite group. The governors of the United States, it's an elite group of people. Small fraternity. It's same as the Senate and the House. Very small group of people. This is why Oz said not fit for office. And it's not a knock on the human being in his condition. I want him to get healthy.
Right.
I want his family to have a family member that's healthy, but not fit for office. Because not fit for office prior to office, at the pressure of the office.
Right.
At the pressure of not being able to deal, can't hear. We knew he was not fit for office going into this. What was his reply? They say I'm fit for the office. He repeated that over and over and over. It was his answer.
But wouldn't release any records.
But wouldn't release any records. But they say I can do the job. Another puppet in the hamster wheel, selected, handpicked to be positioned because, hey, he's just following in the footsteps of the president, or maybe the president should follow in his footsteps and check himself in.
Very fair. I'm not a Fetterman fan.
Really?
I'm not a Fetter stan, as they say.
Do they really say that?
No, they don't. But I think they should.
I was like, wait, what? I missed that.
I want to be a Fetter stan.
That was good, though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really sad, right? This is really sad.
Yeah.
And this has been really sad from the beginning, right? This is not like I'm not a guy who likes Fetterman. I think he'd be a terrible senator if he was capable of doing the job, which he obviously isn't. But if he were to be capable, I think he'd be very bad at this job. I don't think his policies would be helpful to the country, and I think he'd do harm to the country. That being said, this has been a sad incident. Anytime anyone has real health concerns like this, it's really sad and disturbing. It was disturbing to watch him attempt to campaign. It was disturbing to watch him fail to attempt to campaign. But you look at what happened with Dianne Feinstein this week, where she was unaware that she had announced her own retirement. She was elected, I don't know, 1875 or something. And she's been there forever, and she went through a very long stretch where she got very well known, and she had risen to high levels of the Democratic Party, and she was reelected, and she's in office, and then she starts having these problems, and everyone's like, gosh, what do we do? What do we do? We're looking around. They're trying to cover for her. They have aides around her all the time. And while that's bad, and having someone who's in her 80s and struggling in that way is bad, it's so much worse to elect someone for the first time after you've seen all those negative effects.
Correct.
We were all aware that this was going on. And it's honestly one of the most embarrassing things this country has done in my memory when it comes to politics. Electing John Fetterman is an embarrassment. It's not to say, I feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for his family. We all understand that, but to put a man like this in office and do this to him, right? This is putting him in this pressure cooker made all of these things worse. And the fact that he's now dealing with this is no surprise. And, look, Pennsylvania should be ashamed of themselves for putting him in office. It's a disgrace to the country. It's as if you're not taking this at all seriously. Now, look, the Republicans have had a bunch of crappy politicians as well. There's no doubt about that. And a lot of times people just pick by the party line. But this one was so obvious. He told you on stage 100 times that he was not capable of doing this job. And now here we are. He's been in the hospital, 3-4 times in the month and a half he's been in office? It's just absolutely embarrassing. And, what they're going to probably do is before 6 months of this, he's going to wind up leaving for health reasons. They're going to put somebody else in. Everyone's theorizing it may be his wife. And maybe that was the plan from the beginning. But where we are now is a place that we shouldn't be in.
On what grounds? So she's going to represent him in proxy, or what grounds? They made a mockery. Pennsylvania made a mockery of the Senate and the office. Not even the man. They made a mockery of the office, and now they're making a mockery of the man. He's now a mockery, and they did this to him. He didn't elect himself.
But I also would like to bring in, now that we're talking about these people who clearly are not fit for office, again, the President of the United States of America himself, and what is the commonality behind all of these men? There is a woman who is pushing them and controlling them to do it. And it just is so disgusting to me to watch Fetterman's wife direct him around and tell the press, oh, we're not answering questions right now. We're not here for an interview. And the same way that Jill Biden, corrects Joe and answers questions for him and all, it is just so disgusting that the one person that you are supposed to dedicate your life to, right, you've committed to, in the eyes of God, you are putting out there to have this happen to them, knowing that they're going to be under all of this intense pressure, all of this intense scrutiny, knowing that they're going to fail, watching it happen. And I guess the only conclusion I can come to is, I get more power this way, so I'm just going to let it happen.
Yeah, but there's kids involved, Sarah. The man has children.
I know.
This is so wrong.
It's so disgusting to me that these women
honestly,
just
to Stu's point, it's worse than Feinstein. It's worse than the president even, because he's an old man.
Yeah. Right.
This man has teenagers.
Yeah.
For children, who were paraded, by the way, for their fashion or their lack of fashion, for wearing their sweats, for his outfits. The mom pushed the kids to the forefront. So it's disgusting. It is when that level of ambition for self-gain, like a Jill Biden. I say she's abusing her husband. Now that's abuse. So it is. It's telling, though. It's very telling.
To your point, sir, where you said, putting him out there and watching him fail, and it's like, I think that's how we would look at it, right? We would look at it that way because we would want our spouse to succeed and do good things for the country. For them, I think their standard is different. I think failure for them is just them not being in power. That's the failure. So the fact is, I think in their eyes, they've succeeded.
That's a good point.
Because they're holding the seat and he's in power. And, you know, that's all they really care about. They obviously don't care about this man's well-being. They don't care at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, they'll sit there, you know, the New York Times will write 574 stories about George Santos, which is a person I've never even heard of until like 2 weeks ago. And yet, the whole John Fetterman thing is just off their radar.
Yeah.
They don't care because, again, it's about power. They want Santos out of that seat because they want to get a little bit closer to getting the majority in the House. And they want Fetterman to stay in that seat because they want that majority in the Senate. And they don't care actually about either situation.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is. It's really sad to see.
If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you'll be sure to see similar videos from Blaze TV with the added bonus of signaling YouTube that your voice and opinion still matters. And if you're looking for more great conservative content, check out one of the 2 videos suggested here.